You're dialed into the 9th annual Holly Jolly Trolley Food Drive on WCRX. Sam Penianovich and Shane Reynolds, and look who has stepped off the trolley. How did you not hit your head? Chet Coppock, how are you?
Listen, I've hit my head so many times over the years that I'm actually punch drunk.
After setting back offense about 30 years this weekend against KC, any chance Caleb Haney can lead the Bears in the postseason?
Yeah, without question. The defense is obviously going to have to step it up in terms of turnovers. They're going to have to get big plays out of Devin Hester. I think that Haney can't really get any worse than he is right now. I also, I think there's kind of a myth surrounding Tim Tebow. I don't think he's playing really as well as the 6-1 record would indicate, but I've been steadfast all year long that the Bears would go to the games as a wild card, and I still maintain that they will. We've got 2 ball games right now, actually 3 that are very, very winnable. One being Denver this week, Seattle at home, and my old buddy Les Frazier and the Vikes, who right now probably couldn't beat Mount Carmel.
Easy. You're talking to a Vikings fan here, Chet.
Well, actually, I'm kind of a closet Viking fan myself. I mean, I was in the ballpark. I'll tell you guys a really funny story, and this will give away part of my age. And by the way, I got to tell you, I went to the original Columbia College over on Grand Avenue, and you couldn't fit the whole campus right here in the foyer. And we had kind of an interesting collection of guys who were together in this one broadcasting class. Chicago Eddie Schwartz, who was the greatest nighttime person on the Chicago ever had. Bob Surratt, who anchors on Fox News, of course. Michelle Clark, who was a brilliant correspondent for CBS and was killed overseas. And a guy who we thought looked kind of dumpy, and we really thought he'd probably wind up, being an all-night guy at a 7-Eleven, or maybe, pumping gas in Cicero or something like that. You know what his name was? Pat Sajak.
No kidding.
Yeah, but to get back to your question, we're talking about, which was, 4 hours ago? What were we talking about?
We were talking about the Bears. Caleb Haney.
Well, Shane, thank you for waking me up.
You don't buy into the Tebow type?
No, I don't buy into the Tebow hype, and, it's really been more about their defense and special teams. I think the Bears had 3 winnable ball games. I think that what they did do this past Sunday, and I was at the Bear game, and I was sitting with my buddy Rich King from WGN, and the Kingfish and I have probably sat together at Bear games for about 30 years. And during the first half of the ball game, Hub Arkish from Pro Football Weekly wanders over, and we're trying to determine if this is the worst first half of football we've ever seen on any level.
Ever.
I mean, from Pee Wee football all the way to the NFL. And it might not have been the worst, but it was the sloppiest, most boring chunk of first half football I have ever seen.
Playing Vikings football in that first half is kind of what they've been doing a little bit.
Don't get carried away, Shane.
Well, we can talk about Tim Tebow all we want. Let's talk about the Bears. The unfortunate injuries to Jay Cutler and Matt Forte piling up. A lot of fans are concerned. Do people now realize how important they were to the team now that they're gone?
Well, you never realize how valuable somebody is to a ball club until they're not there. The first thing that came to my mind with Matt Forte as he was taken off the field this past Sunday was, Matt, you walked away from $14 million in guaranteed money back in August, and now, you guys know this because you're both, young and aspiring sportscasters. The National Football League is not so much a sport as it is a business.
Yes.
Now, Forte, who is the #1 yardage producer in the National Football League, despite the fact that his production had begun to dip and now he is he's on the mend. And really, if I'm Forte, with no guaranteed money coming up in 2012, I don't play the rest of the year. I mean, that's a very, very simple fact. I think it would be foolish on the part of Forte to come back. But, even if the Bears didn't sign him to a contract in the offseason, they were going to have to tag him as a franchise player.
He's going to get tagged either way.
Which, man, he was going to wind up with a payday of $7 million. But now, in the land of the National Football League, the Bears will tell Forte and his agent, we really don't know what your value is. we'll sign you to a 3-year deal, but it's going to be backloaded, and it's going to be very club friendly for the first 2 years because this guy's had 2 tears of his MCL now in 2 years, and also, guys, if you look at the numbers, if you log on to Google and just type in Matt Forte career stats, and you look at the incredible volume of touches, pass catches, rushes he's had during his National Football League career, I'm telling you, hey, running backs are like crash test dummies. They aren't meant to last. This guy, by the time he's 28, will be yesterday's news. He really will.
So if you're Matt Forte's agent, you mentioned he can have a 3-year club-friendly deal. Would you tell him to take that or go out on the open market?
I would go out on the open market. I really would. I would try to heal. I would go so far as to go the Terrell Owens route and perhaps have an open workout. I'll let ball clubs take a look at what I have to offer. It's interesting. Marion Barber, very strong runner between the tackles. What we saw out of Khalil Bell, I want to see it a second time. I want to see it a third time. They looked pretty good on Sunday, but you can't expect the ball club to go to the playoffs. If these guys do go to the playoffs without Cutler and Forte, then in a roundabout way, you got to give Lovie Smith some type of consideration, along with McCarthy of Green Bay, obviously, as National Football Conference Coach of the Year.
You're listening to the 9th annual Holly Jolly Food Drive. I'm Shane Reynolds. Sammy P joined us, and Chet Coppock sits right in between us. Who's your favorite athlete to cover, Chet?
Boy, that's a great question. Probably because I had the opportunity to spend some time with him. I saw him fight in person several times. I would probably go with Muhammad Ali, number 1. Going way back in time when I was a young boy. Mickey Mantle would be number 2. Having the opportunity to do Mike Ditka's radio show the year the Bears won the Super Bowl, I would have to go with Walter Payton. He would be on my list. In '91, I was part of the broadcast team of the Bulls when they won their first NBA championship, and Michael and I were doing Chicago and Chevrolet spots together, so Michael Jordan would be on the list. He may be a world, but Pete Rose would be on my list. I don't look for athletic brilliance so much as I look for guys who are characters, who are fun to be around. I mean, Jim McMahon could be a miserable SOB in the long day, but McMahon was a character. McMahon was a blast to be around. That's the joy to me of sportscasting, is the incredible volume of characters that you get to be around. I mean, like, for example, the time that I spent with Ali, I was with Muhammad the day before he left to fly to Zaire when he knocked out George Foreman. And I mean, that given 3-hour session that we spent just sipping coffee and sipping Diet Cokes, I mean, that's unforgettable.
Muhammad and I like how you said that. I never speaking into the first name.
The nuclear winter lasted about 10 days after David Stern came out and said, "We are about to enter this awful time. Basketball's back. Can the Bulls win a championship with the current roster?"
No.
Not even a shot.
That's what I'm about to hear.
No, because they can't get past Miami with the roster they've got. Although, let me qualify that. If Carlos Boozer is healthy for a full 66 games and the playoffs and plays up to his 5 years, $75 million potential, this club, could be in the hunt for an NBA title. There's no reason to believe that Derrick Rose won't continue to improve. I mean, I'm happy that Jerry Reinsdorf and the Bulls have indicated that if they can get the right two guy, I mean, you've got to take some backward pressure off of Derrick Rose. If they get the right shooting guard, Caron Butler, Jason Richardson, whoever that happens to be, this is a club that, yes, wouldn't necessarily win an NBA title. It might steal an NBA title. Just like Dallas stole an NBA title last year.
You talked about shooting guard. That's a big hole for the Bulls, obviously number 1 priority. Dwight Howard doesn't play shooting guard. He plays center for the Orlando Magic. Any possibility that he comes and plays for the Bulls?
Will John Paxson do that?
you'd have to do an awful lot of juggling with salary cap. And how you would make it happen right now is a $64,000 question. I would say this much. If you bought Dwight Howard into Chicago, number one, scalpers would have a field day, and number two, you could put together potentially a dynasty with Howard and Rose playing the inside-outside game.
Chet Coppock, Chicago sports icon, joins the Holly Jolly Trolley Food Drive. Final question, Chet. You cover ND football and basketball for WLS, but what are you doing off of the station? What are you doing in your own world?
I'm having a ball. I do daily copying online, which I hope you guys will check out. I do a lot of commercial work here in Chicago and outside the market. One of your rivals down the street, the Illinois Center for Broadcasting, and the senior sports consultant. So I'm at an age where I thought that I would be semi-retired, yet somehow I'm still working about 75 hours a week.
And the website you mentioned, where do we find it?
Well, you can find me on Twitter, you can find me on Facebook, you can find me at chetcoppock.com, you can find me at dailycoppock.com, and if I don't find my rent, or don't pay my rent, you can find me at probably, 26th and Cal by the end of the month.
State prison, county prison.
Well, Chet, we want to thank you for coming in.
My pleasure. You guys are doing a great job. I heard you out with the young lady who,
Jamisha,
who was marvelous. Who reminds me, I want you to check this out. She reminds me of a great soul singer from my generation by the name of Carla Thomas, who was magnificent.
My dad knows. That's something my dad would say. Really, he knows who she is. It's not that old, is it?
No, it's that old, believe me.
Oh, we're going to keep you around. We're going to bring you over to the prize wheel before you get out of here.
No problem. I'll go wherever you want.
All right, we're going to take a break.
As long as I can hit the donut.
You're listening to the Holly Jolly Food Drive on 88.1 WCRX.